to our Lake County Market Update. Thank you for joining us today. Our goal today is to give you some information and education on what's happening in the Lake County housing market. Feel free to write your questions in the comments below as we go along, and we'll have some Q&A at the end, and hopefully we can answer all your questions that you might have. So just to give you a little background on myself and Baird Warner. So my name again is Steve Lawrence. I am the designated managing broker for the Baird Warner office here in Libertyville. Baird Warner is the largest independent and oldest independent in the United States. It is run by the fifth generation Baird family, Steve Baird, who is our current president. We have 29 offices around Chicagoland, including ours here at 200 North Milwaukee in downtown Libertyville. And we are also celebrating our 50th year in Libertyville. Just as more of a background, we have over 110 agents that are here in Libertyville, and what's unique about that is there are market experts in each of the communities for Lake County. So if you're looking for an agent in Libertyville, Grayslake, Antioch, Lake Zurich, we have a market expert for that. So although I'll be focusing on all of Lake County, real estate is very individual, and you are going to want to have a professional realtor for your town give you the information that you will need that's going to be exclusive to you. So our focus of today's meetings and the two major questions that we are asked constantly is how's the market and should I move? Should I wait? Should I go? It's said in a much of different ways. And a lot of times too, people are saying how's the market? They're asking what's the interest rate? And interest rates have never been better. And one of the things that Baird Warner does bring to you is we have our own mortgage company called Key Mortgage, and we have our own title company, which is Baird Warner Title. This ensures a seamless process from start to finish of the real estate process that we can provide to our clients. So how's the market? So one of the things that we're going to go through, I've got about 5 slides that I'm going to go through to kind of give you a overview of what's happening just in Lake County. Because one of the things that talking to clients that I have noticed is the data that you receive or the information that the media puts out, so often it's nationally, and that national news is reflected on the East Coast, West Coast. It's certainly not the Midwest, and even if it's slimmed down to just be Illinois, it includes those Chicago statistics, which again for Lake County does not necessarily pertain. So today's talk is all focused just on Lake County information. So we're going to take a slight look back on what closed during the first part of 2020. And some of the confusion that reigns is the market is actually up over last year for closed sales because the market started so strongly January 1st, February, March. And you can see from these graphs, all 3 of those months were over. And I believe everybody was extremely excited, made a lot of plans to make some moves for this year that were basically put on pause when we got the shelter at home order from the governor. So what we really want to focus on and really what matters as we move forward is our pending information. So a pending sale is those properties that the buyer and seller has come to a agreement, and now the process goes to get it to the closing table. Before the pandemic, we were looking at about a 30-day closing. We are seeing now 45 to 60 days in order to close a property, just because some of the inspections and things take a little longer these days. So the pending market is that property. So what's been active and where it's going. So again, as we're looking at this pending graph, you'll notice that the first 2 months were extremely powerful. And then March, it somewhat tailed off because we lost, 11 days of that last market, and then certainly April. But there was almost 600 homes that sold in April in Lake County this year. And I know many of you now watching this are going, wow, I didn't even know any homes sold in Lake County for the month of April or even May. So yes, it's down about 45% over last year. And now as we look at the next slide, and this is what I call the tip of the spear. What this graph represents is our showings of our listings here in Lake County. So we have about 150 active listings that sellers are currently trying to sell their home. This is a week over week showing graph. So as we look at this, and you can see how strong it was at the beginning of the year, and then the order, and it just dropped. That first week when the order came, very little activity happened. And as you can see, each week it has grown. And there's several reasons for that, and the main one has been just confidence. There's confident sellers out there and confident buyers out there that still cannot put their real estate goals on hold. When they talk about real estate being an essential service, obviously shelter is such a core part of our being. But the essential piece was more for your buyers and sellers that just couldn't wait. And we had to move forward with helping them either sell their house or, hey, I need to be in a home. So that pushed the market. In addition, protocols were put into place on how to show a home. So when a buyer comes to the home, there's a lot of things that happen prior to that. On the buyer side, they are pre-approved for their loan, they are ready to go, they're ready to buy. In addition, they have driven by that home, they've seen it online, probably multiple times. In addition, in many cases, the listing agent has taken a virtual tour with that buyer through the house. And showing them features, etc. So when that buyer is actually finally going to do a physical showing of that property, they are very aware of what this house is, and they are a good prospect of, hey, I'm probably buying this house today or very soon. For the seller's part on it, they are preparing the home. And what does that mean? That means basically they've got everything cleaned, they've got the lights turned on, they've got cabinet doors open, they've got doors open. So when a buyer does go through that home and they've got booties, they've got gloves on, they are not touching anything, or touching as very little as possible. So, and there's also just the buyer. So kids are not coming to it, the families aren't coming to it. It's just the buyer and the realtor. Obviously the seller leaves. There can be only a max of 4 people in the house at a time anyway. So they're masked up, they come in and they go. And then the seller comes in and then they wash it down and get it prepared. So those protocols have been in place, and which has given a lot of buyers and sellers that comfort of, okay, I can show my house, I'm not going to get sick, and I can move forward with my plans. So again, that has done that. We are also projecting this week more showings again. So this graph is going to continue on this rise. It's just going to continue. On our next slide then, and only 3 to go. And this is an exciting slide for me. So what we always say, when's the spring market? And I know there's confusion there. Our spring market here in Lake County starts in February. So right after the Super Bowl is when a lot of homes come on the market, a lot of buyers are coming in, and I think that's because over the holidays in December, people were online looking at homes saying, hey, I think we need to do something this year. What's out there? So a lot of people made those plans, and you can see from the blue line here, this was 2019. And you can see the ramp up for the spring market that happened. And here we were again. 2020 started out so strong. And I think everybody was really excited about having a new home for 2020. It was announced, and certainly we kind of tailed off here. Again, and then this is the exciting part. So here we're about 45% down as a market. And as the graph is growing, I do see an intersection sometime in July, possibly August, where those two will go. So where this peaked last year during the normal spring market, our normal spring market this year may be June, July, possibly even beginning of August. But again, we're still going to do that. There's a lot of people that are still rock solid on making their plans in Lake County. And a lot of that has to do with what is offered in Lake County. Certainly it's a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to raise a family. I myself have been here my entire life. Great bike paths, great schools. In addition, there's Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies out there. Again, Baird Warner has the largest relocation company in Chicagoland, servicing a lot of those companies' needs. So, and those plans have not changed. Anybody who's driven down Peterson Road in Allegheny, there is a huge building being constructed there, and that's a Medline distribution center, which just, again, they're still moving forward with their plans. My next slide is our active listing, and this is your supply and demand that's out there. And again, this arc is the norm. So at the beginning of the year, and if you go back to December here, and then it just grows through the spring market, kind of peaks in July, August, and then people sell their house, and there's less inventory that is available during the holidays. You can see that we started to do that spike, and if we had continued on, we'd probably have this same arc going. A lot of people put their house off the market. And now you're probably saying, but Steve, what is this big V that's right here? So that is our hidden inventory. And when I say hidden inventory, that's all realtors that are out there. There are statuses that are in the MLS, all the active properties, that's this number here. So you can go online, you can find that house, there's a sign in front of it, and it's out there. The two statuses that are hidden are temporary status and private network. And those are accessed through realtors. Any realtor has access to this database of hidden homes. And those are the sellers that either had to hit pause and say, I don't want a lot of people in my home, or they're saying, I want to make sure my job is secure before I continue with my plans. There's some reason that they've kind of just hit the pause button. The key on that, though, is they have not changed their plans yet. They're still planning on coming on the market, and it kind of makes it a unique little time because we can actually see inventory that's going to come on. Typically in the holidays in January, I'm asking my agents, hey, how many sellers do you think are going to be coming on the market? How many are you working with, getting their houses prepped, planned? And this we know, there's almost 800 homes in Lake County that are in these two statuses. So if you are a buyer in the market and you can't find the property that you're looking for, reach out to your realtor and say, hey, what's in this hidden inventory that I heard about? And say, Steve sent you. So that kind of wraps up this part of the presentation. The second question that I hear all the time is, should I move? Is it time? Should I wait? Should I go? And that is gotta be your decision. I can't tell you right now this is the best time to sell. It could be the best time for you, but it might not be. This has got to be a conversation that you have with a professional realtor that can give you the information of what's happening locally, all the way down to what's happening in my subdivision. How many are on the market? How many are under contract? How many have closed? Are we having problems with appraisals in that area? There's a myriad list of details that you just have to have that conversation. Keep in mind, we are perfectly structured. Our mission in life here is to serve, not sell. We've been around for 165 years, and we've done that by doing the right things for our clients. So no one's going to talk you into selling. It's going to be what is best for you in your present situation and for your future. And what does 2020 hold, and where do you want to be? There's a lot of things that go into that decision. So hopefully that gives you a nice little overview of what we kind of talked about. Hopefully there's some questions in the comment fields. I'm going to go to my producers here and see if we've got any questions.
We do have a few questions, and
Excellent.
One of the first ones that came through is they're asking, will this be like what happened in the 2008 market with regard to pricing?
So outstanding question, and yes, we get that one a lot, and there's a lot of nervous. Even if you're not in the market to sell, you certainly do not want to lose a third of your value, which is what happened in 2008. And there's several reasons why we will not see that this go around. Number one, the government was actually very fast in reacting to this current crisis. If you recall back in 2007, 2008, they were so unprepared. People had to do short sales. They've lost their house. There was just really no government aid. There's already government programs out there. So if you're having trouble making your mortgage payment, I encourage you to call your lender and see what can be done. They can defer some of those payments with no penalties, depending on your lender and who has that fee. So what drove a lot of that lost value was all this inventory that came on. And with the REO properties, a lot of them, they just wanted to get them off their books, so the prices just tumbled. And then it was just a storm of more people than that, hey, I lost more value, so now my house isn't worth what it is. As we have lived what's now, it's been 13 years since this happened. People have been paying down their mortgages. So right now there is more equity in most people's houses that are there. If you are not planning on moving though, this is an amazing time to refinance. Interest rates are, below 3.5%, 15 years are even lower than that. So reach out to our key mortgage rep and they can give you information on how that works too. So excellent.
Steve, we have another question coming in from Scott Johnson, and he's asking, what is the closing timeline right now?
So another great question. So typically it was like 30 days, and even with cash deals, we could get those done in like 2 to 3 weeks as long as all the paperwork was done. Right now it is a little more lengthy, and it depends too, like on the mortgage. One of the nice things right now is buyers are much more prepared because they have to be in order to buy the house. Many sellers are not even allowing a showing in unless that person has been pre-approved. And what does pre-approved mean? There's a difference. There used to be a pre-qualification, or people can go online and get a pre-approval letter just by saying, I make X, this is what I owe, and it spits out a piece of paper. Today, sellers, and certainly with our clients, we make sure they get a pre-approval, which means that credit was run, their assets are verified, and their jobs are verified. So it is a true pre-approval of, yes, I could buy you this house today if I like it. So we are looking at basically, though, about 45 to 60 days, just because, again, is there some with the home inspection still can be somewhat done on time, but if there's any repairs that need to be done, sometimes it's a challenge to get a workman over or get the repair done. So although I see a lot of homeowners doing a lot of improvements right now. So great.
Excellent. Throughout the comments, I'm seeing a lot of agents in there talking about that they do have closings, that they're selling homes. Can you talk a little bit as to how the actual closing is different today than maybe what we had seen in the past?
Absolutely, and using a buzzword that's out there, we certainly pivoted. So as I said, we have Baird Warner Title here, which really put us right on the front lines of what was going on and being able to react and help our clients close their properties in a seamless type manner. And again, I'm sure there's many people on here that are surprised that we even had closings. There's people out there that think the housing market's dead. So in the past, the buyer would come, the 2 attorneys would come, there'd be a closer in the property, everybody would be signing live and getting things done. Currently today, and actually we have 4 closings happening here in the office today. The buyers come, and of course the room is prepped before they get there, so everything is washed down and cleaned and sanitized before anybody gets here. But it's typically just the buyers now that are coming to the closing. Depending on the buyer or how many people are currently in the office, if they're comfortable with doing curbside, we're actually closing them in our parking lot. I would say the majority of buyers are feeling very comfortable coming in the office, and they sit in their private closing room. The paperwork is there for them to fill out. If they have any questions, depending on their attorney, they can either phone a friend, phone an attorney, or it's either like a Google Hangout or Zoom meeting that they can get live with their attorney going over some of these documents. Baird Warner has delivered the paperwork 3 days prior to, so it makes that piece much easier. We are also wiring all the money, so a lot of the paper checks you just don't see anymore. So hope that answered it.
That's great. One of the last things that I saw in here was a comment from one of our agents that talks about being in a multiple offer. Are we really seeing multiple offer situations during all of this?
It's actually probably one of the biggest surprises. And true with every market, whether it's a great market, whether it's a bad market, and what is the definition of a bad market? If the house shows great, so today's buyer, they're looking for updated kitchens, bathrooms, and the right price. So one of the things we haven't seen in this market is a drop in prices, but we also haven't seen a run up in prices. It has been very flat, which is actually helpful for our market. We don't have those huge swings. So when they come on, and again, keep in mind, you've got 800 homes that are hidden and they can't see everything. So when one does actually hit the market live, available to everybody, you got these buyers that are just waiting for that right house because they've seen everything and it's not. So if you like a house, I guarantee you there's probably 2 or 3 other buyers that are also. So we're seeing a lot of multiple offers, certainly in price points. And again, that's what makes this unique. I mean, if you've got $1 million house, you probably don't have as many buyer pool that's buying into that. If you're at the 250 range right now, you're gold. You've got a lot of buyers in that pool that are looking for that price point.
Excellent. One of the most recent things that came in here question-wise, you had mentioned in your presentation the hidden inventory, and one of our viewers is saying that he's looked online and he can't find them.
Well, and that's unfortunately that's why you need that realtor piece in there to go find it. So when they go to a temporary status and private network. So if you're not calling one of my agents, but any realtor has this information, tell them what's on the temporary status and what's in the private network that suits my needs. They can do that search for you. But what happens is that it's not fed out. So the MLS feeds all these national real estates, realtor.com, etc. That feed is not shared when they're in that status. Great question.
Excellent. Well, I think we've gone through everything unless I'm not seeing anything. We've got a lot of comments out here about the great work Key Mortgage is doing for us.
Fantastic.
How is the best way for the consumers out there to get in touch with one of our Key Mortgage loan officers?
Great. And actually, let's back up. So what's the process? So if you're thinking, you know what, now's the time for me to buy, or I want to at least investigate it, step one is call a realtor. If you don't have one, reach out to us, 847-367-1855, which was our founding year, and we will find that agent and match you up with an agent that's a specialist in your area that you're looking for, or you have a house to sell for. That's your step one. Where are you in the process? Step two then is reaching out to our Key Mortgage rep. And again, you can reach out to us and we'll give you that phone number. I have 4 fantastic loan officers that service our area, and they will give you that information again too. And again, they are designed to serve, not sell. We're not here to sell you a house today. We're here to give you the information. If it makes sense, that's it. Once you do that, then it's let's look at some properties, but now it's virtual as opposed to going out. So last weekend, Baird Warner did a virtual open house extravaganza. Maybe some of you have seen it. If not, it's all taped, which is beautiful. You can go do that. And we had a lot of activity on that. So it's a pretty vibrant market, but then that's the steps. All right.
Very good. And in closing, we have one more request asking how to reach you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, a couple of ways. And it's steve.lawrence@bairdwarner.com. If you want to email, certainly you can put it in the comments. You could also private message us and we'll reach out. And again, the phone number here is 847-367-1855, 1855. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And again, if I have not answered your question, please feel free to reach out to me. We are here to serve, not sell. Thank you very much, and we'll think of another topic and come back at you relatively soon. Thanks again for joining. Take care.